Here's something you've probably never actually stopped to think about. When your cat puts a paw on you, do you actually know what they're saying? It's adorable, sure, but there's something underneath it most owners completely miss. And if you brush it off the wrong way, which most people do without realizing it, you might be missing one of the clearest signals your cat ever gives you. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what that paw means in 5 completely different situations, and one of them is a level of trust so rare, most cat owners go their whole lives without recognizing it when it happens right in front of them. Let's start with what that paw actually means. 1. It's a request, not a demand. Ever notice your cat resting a paw on you instead of meowing, pawing at your face, or knocking something off the counter to get your attention? That's not random, and it's not just a coincidence of timing. Unlike dogs who whine, bark, or physically shove their face into yours the moment they want something, cats have a much quieter approach built into how they operate. A soft paw touch is their version of "excuse me." It's low pressure, it's controlled, and it's far more intentional than it looks at first glance. Think about the difference for a second. A cat that wants your attention has plenty of louder options available. They could yowl, they could knock a glass off the table, which most owners know they're perfectly capable of. They could pace and circle and make a scene. Instead, they choose the quietest possible option. One paw, gently placed, and then they wait. Here's what most people miss entirely. Cats don't tap just anyone. This isn't a universal cat behavior aimed indiscriminately at every human they encounter. If your cat is choosing this specific, low-key gesture over louder, more demanding behavior, it actually tells you something about the relationship. It means they trust you to notice and respond without them having to escalate into something more dramatic. And sometimes, this same gentle touch is actually the opening move of something much bigger. Not every paw touch is asking for food or attention. Some of them are the first flicker of a level of trust most owners never even notice building over time, because it looks so similar to the everyday version. We'll get to the biggest version of it by the end of this video, and once you see it, it might genuinely change how you read this whole gesture going forward. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe. It helps us reach more cat owners who deserve to understand what their cats are really trying to tell them. 2. It goes all the way back to kittenhood. To understand why cats do this at all, you have to go back to the very beginning of their lives. Before your cat could see clearly, before they could walk with any real coordination, they were already doing something remarkably close to this exact motion. Kneading, pressing their tiny paws rhythmically against their mother's body while nursing, is one of the very first motor patterns a kitten ever learns. It's almost automatic, hardwired in before anything else. Functionally, it stimulates milk flow, which is the practical reason it exists in the first place. But here's the part that matters more for understanding your adult cat. It also wires in something bigger at exactly the same time. Comfort, safety, the physical sensation that everything in that moment is okay. Most cats stop actually needing milk within a matter of weeks. That part of the behavior's original purpose disappears almost entirely. But the motion itself never really leaves. It doesn't get deleted from the behavioral repertoire just because it's no longer nutritionally necessary. Instead, it gets repurposed. It becomes a self-soothing habit that carries all the way into adulthood, often surfacing at exactly the moments when a cat feels most relaxed. And so, when your fully grown cat presses a paw against you now, on the couch, in bed, while you're just sitting still, they're not inventing something new in that moment. They're replaying the oldest comfort behavior they have access to, one that's been sitting dormant in their nervous system since they were blind and helpless. And in that replay, you're standing in the exact role their mother used to hold. 3. It's also a quiet claim of ownership. Here's something most owners never think about, and it changes how the whole gesture reads once you know it. Cats have scent glands located in their paw pads. It's easy to overlook because you can't see or smell anything happening, but it's there, working quietly in the background of nearly every paw-related interaction your cat has with you. A paw pressed against your skin, your arm, your leg, your face while you're sleeping, isn't just physical contact from your cat's perspective. It's leaving a chemical signature behind, one that marks you, in a very literal biological sense, as theirs. This isn't the aggressive kind of marking people sometimes picture when they hear the word territory. It's not the same category as spraying, which is usually a stress or communication signal aimed at other cats. This is closer to a quiet claim of belonging, made in the gentlest way available to them. And cats are notably picky about what gets this kind of treatment. They don't mark every surface in the house indiscriminately, and they don't do this to every person who walks through the door. If your cat is marking you specifically, repeatedly, in this particular way, they've effectively filed you under mine, and that classification goes a fair bit past simple affection. It's less I like you and more you belong to my world now, which, if you think about it, is a much bigger statement coming from an animal that's famously selective about what it claims. 4. Sometimes it's genuinely checking on you. Ever been deep in a nap and felt a paw pressing into your chest or your face, seemingly out of nowhere? Most owners chalk this up to a cat wanting breakfast or attention, and sometimes that's exactly what it is. But there's a second explanation that's just as common and considerably more touching once you understand it. Cats are unusually tuned in to breathing patterns and small movements, far more than most owners give them credit for. When you go completely still for an extended stretch, whether you're deeply asleep, sick, or just unusually motionless, you stop giving off the small, constant signals your cat has learned to rely on throughout the day. No shifting, no talking, no background movement. To a cat's finely tuned sense of pattern recognition, something feels subtly off, so they check. Behaviorists sometimes describe this specific action as a kind of wellness check, and it's worth noting that it's not something cats perform indiscriminately for just anyone in the house. It tends to be reserved specifically for the people they're most closely bonded to. Not house guests, not people they're neutral toward, but the core 1 or 2 humans they've built their sense of security around. So the next time that paw to the face startles you awake, it's worth pausing before getting annoyed. There's a real chance your cat wasn't demanding food at all. There's a real chance they were simply confirming, in the only way they know how, that you were still there. 5. It can be a request to stay. Cats are remarkably good readers of human body language, often picking up on the subtle shift in your weight, the slight change in your breathing, or the small tension in your legs that happens right before you stand up. Sometimes they seem to notice this before you've even consciously decided to move yourself. A paw placed on you in that exact window isn't a coincidence, and it isn't bad timing. It's closer to a specific, quiet request. Not yet. It runs directly against how independent cats are generally assumed to be by people who've never really watched closely. This is an animal that instinctively hides pain, rarely shows overt need, and generally prefers to appear entirely self-sufficient at all times. So when a cat actively, physically asks you not to leave, even in this small, silent, easy-to-miss way, it's worth paying attention to. It means something. 6. This is the one I promised you earlier. Remember at the very start, when I said this gentle habit sometimes opens the door to something deeper, a level of trust most owners never notice building? This is what I meant. A cat's entire sense of physical readiness depends on keeping all 4 paws on the ground. That's what allows them to launch, pivot, or bolt in any direction without a moment's hesitation. It's baked into their anatomy and their instincts at the deepest level. The instant they voluntarily lift one paw and rest it on you instead, they've deliberately given up a real portion of that readiness. In the wild, Being caught with only 3 paws grounded is a genuinely risky position, one that could mean the difference between escaping a threat and not. Your living room obviously isn't the wild, and on some level, your cat knows that. But the instinct sitting underneath the gesture doesn't fully know the difference between a quiet living room and an actual threat-filled environment, which is exactly what makes the gesture count for something. It's not about wanting something from you in that specific moment. There's no food angle, no attention-seeking angle, nothing transactional about it at all. It's the physical version of your cat deciding, on some instinctive level, that you're safe enough that they don't need an exit plan while they're touching you. That's the whole arc of this one small gesture, from the request, to a memory of kittenhood, to a quiet claim, to a check on your well-being, to a plea to stay, and finally, to a small act that cost your cat something real to give. Does your cat have a signature way of touching you with a paw? Tell me about it in the comments. And if you want more cat behavior breakdowns grounded in real science, subscribe. New video every week.